Dr. Miller, will lead us in prayer?
Our Father, who
art
art
in
in
heaven,
heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, good afternoon. We're going to announce this. If there's any profanity or anything being used, we will ask the police to escort you out. Any profane language or any disrespect will not be tolerated. We're here to discuss some issues. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Harris,
Present.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Present.
Mr. Etherly,
Here.
Ms. Davis, Dr. Miller,
Here.
6 present.
Mr. Mayor, members of the administration, and the city council, I read the notice of special meeting. The undersigned council persons hereby call a special meeting of the Helena-West City Council to take place today at 6:00 p.m. in the council chambers. The purpose of the meeting will be to discuss newly implemented water and sewer rates, possible suspension of implementation of those new rates, and any other necessary discussions regarding the Helena-West Water Department. And that is signed by the requisite number of council members to have this special call meeting. The city attorney has submitted 2 ordinances. One has a date in it, and the other one does not. They are otherwise identical. And I don't know if you would like me to start by reading that ordinance into your hearing, and then you can have your discussion, or how would you prefer we proceed? I'll read the ordinance. It's ordinance number blank 2024, an ordinance establishing a moratorium on the implementation of water and sewer rate increases and for other related purposes. Whereas the city of Helena-West has recently adopted an ordinance increasing water and sewer rates for customers of the water utility, and whereas the city council deems it necessary to further study the issue of water and sewer rates for the citizens, and whereas time is of the essence, and the city council desires to act immediately due to several concerns regarding the water and sewer rates. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the city council of the city of Helena-West as follows. Section 1, moratorium. A, the city council has previously adopted an ordinance increasing the water and sewer rates with an effective date of August 1st, 2024. B, since implementation of those rates, the city council has determined that there is an immediate need for further study of the rates, bills, and possibly reconsider the rate amounts. C, the city council hereby issues a moratorium and stay of the implementation of the increase of water and sewer rates until October 1st is what's in this one, and the other one is a blank date if you wanted a different date. During the time frame from the adoption of this ordinance and the conclusion of the moratorium, the city will further study the issues that are affecting the amount of the bills that customers have been asked to pay. The water utility is directed to bill all customers at the previous rate until the end of this moratorium and any subsequent moratorium that may be issued by the city council. For all customers that have paid pursuant to the current rate, the account should be credited for the additional amounts that have been remitted. After the conclusion of the moratorium, the rate amount shall either return to the amount in the recently adopted ordinance or an ordinance adopted by the subsequent to this moratorium. F, this moratorium shall end immediately upon the adoption of a new ordinance, amending of the previous ordinance, or upon the termination date cited herein. Section 2, if for any reason any portion of this ordinance is held to be invalid, such invalidity shall in no way affect the remaining portions thereof, which are valid, but such valid portions shall be and remain in full force and effect. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. And Section 6, the ordinance being necessary to promote the health safety, peace, and general welfare of the citizens of Helena-West Helena. An emergency is hereby declared to exist. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately. An emergency is hereby declared passed and signed by the mayor, attested by the clerk. And that is the ordinance. The only difference in those two, as I understand it, is the date of the proposed moratorium.
I object to section E, we should not return to the present rate, that a new ordinance should be adopted at the decision of a board to supervise that rate. That a new rate be set, not go back to these rates that we've got. Do you understand what I said?
I want you to say it again because I kind of got lost. You say you don't want to go back to the.
Object to section E, paragraph E.
Okay. So what race?
That we need a new ordinance, not go back to the original ordinance that was passed 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Mr. St. Columbia, a new ordinance would have to be drafted.
Well, we'll draft it when
But
we
it-
reach a
it-
decision.
But if we don't place a moratorium on the collection, then people still have to pay the new rate. If you don't pause it, they still have to pay it. While you're waiting to draft the new ordinance, they still have to pay the current rate. This stops the collection and returns them to
We're
the
gonna
old rate.
stop the collection of this,
That's
past ordinance.
that's what this does.
period.
That's what this does
Okay.
during the period of time specified in the
But
ordinance.
at the date that we set, we don't need to go back to the old rate. We need
But
to
you have
establish a
to,
new
but you
rate.
have to adopt a new,
Sir?
you have to adopt a new ordinance before
Well,
that
we can do
time.
that, yes,
We can, but if you don't vote for this one, then they have to pay the new rate.
yeah.
They
I
want,
support getting rid of
that's what they want you, they want you to pause the new rate. That's what
Yeah.
they want you to do. Yes, sir.
I'll support that, but I
Yes,
don't
sir.
like the way that's worded.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir, I understand.
I just received this a few minutes ago.
Me too, but I said, I understand you.
I'm more in favor on section C, on that blank. I think it should be until further notice. I think that should be until further notice. So basically, no new increase should be implemented until further notice, so that there can be more research done, so they can be beta tested, so that we can make sure that the meters are properly calibrated and all these things. Now, as you all know, I'm probably not the best person to even be discussing this because I wasn't in favor of the rate increase at all.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, here we are. So I would say until further notice.
Well,
And that could be October,
well,
but it might be January
let
or
me-
February or whenever.
whatever this body decides is what happens.
I understand that. I'm just giving you my opinion.
But what
I
you have to
understand
be mindful of is that the rates are going to either go up or the water company is going to go out of business. It's going to be one or the other.
Well,
Do
I
they
mean,
go
but
up- do
nobody
they
can
go
pay
up
these,
to
Mr.
the-
Valley, nobody can pay these rates. So something's gonna have to be changed. Because nobody can pay, when people's bills are triple and quadruple, they can't afford it. So who's gonna be here to pay for it?
I don't disagree with
That's
you
what
on
I'm saying.
that.
So I understand the
disagree with you.
increase. I
But
understand the increase,
I can get you-
I understand your philosophy on the increase.
I get you a
But let's take our
report.
time and do it right.
Yes, sir. I get your report from the water department. Most people's rates didn't do as you're describing. A lot of them did.
We need to do a study and find out who did and who didn't.
Well, I understand, but part of
Did y'all's rates increase?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
I rest my case. I rest my case.
Mr. Miller,
Can you take a statement from the audience?
Mr. Miller.
I'm gonna let the parliamentarian do that. Do we have a parliamentarian?
So, Mr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
What we're finding is a lot of customers with high usage for whatever reason. I don't know what that is yet. They are trying to ascertain that, but people using 30,000 gallons of water, they're gonna have a high bill. That's just what's going to happen. Average, according to your rate study, is 5,485 gallons. But we got people posting on Facebook and calling us and texting us and all of that with 17 and 25 and 38 and 50,000 gallons of water. And there's no rate study or anything that's going to help them. There's going to have to be either a change of the meter itself, if the meter is the problem, or repair of the leak,
Yes, sir.
whatever leak they have.
That's all.
And many people have leaks in their toilets that we tend to ignore because it's just become a common.
Yes, sir.
And so I don't know what any individual's concern
No,
is.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Right.
if that's the general consensus of the board, let's take our time and do it right. That's all I'm saying.
Now, the final thing I'll say on that, take your time to do it right. I think you've done it right. But you don't have a whole lot of time to work with.
We can't say that,
What-
Mr. Valley, when you have people's rates, bills that have increased triple and quadruple. We can't say we've done it right.
But they were increased
can't say that.
because, and we're gonna need you to approve something before we leave tonight. You're applying for $11 million loan.
I understand,
And in order to qualify for that $11 million loan, the
That's
rates
right.
need to be at a certain level.
I understand that, but we can't gouge the people.
You can't get the loan.
Well, I say this.
Maybe the loan's not worth it if it's gonna mean we're gonna gouge the people. I don't know. Maybe I may be in the minority. I don't know.
I say this. My water usage was 17,000 gallons of water. Water is 385. Well, I tell you what happened. There's a toilet well, I don't care about you laughing, but it's 385 that I know what I did and I didn't fix. My mother, who's on a fixed income and stay across the street, her water bill is 285. There's a leak at her meter. When I cut her grass, that's how I found it. A lot of citizens, people want to say, well, I don't have a leak. I don't have a leak. That's what your water department is for. Let us check and see what's going on with your meter. We're not here to try to hurt anybody. I think people, we all want Facebook clout. We want to make sure we getting this. But what happens when we didn't have any water? We still at those days. And I understand people, well, my bill, 5,000, I understand it, but, we're here to help with that. You don't have to try to make a joke or get a post or get a like. This is all our community. If this community if the water go down again, we all out of here. Okay, where you sit or where you stand. It's something we gotta fix. If your water bill is ridiculously high and you know you're not using that, call the water department. And I think that's some of the things that we have to do. I hate it that my bill is that high, but I know what's going on. And until I fix it, until I call a plumber out to get it fixed, I got to pay the $385. And I'm prepared to do it. My mama, who's on the fixed income, it's just one less Coke I'm gonna drink, one less hamburger I'm gonna eat until I figure out how to get her issue fixed because she don't have it. I don't want you to be sympathetic to me. I'm just telling you that we all got some issues. You know that if you're a single person living in your house and your water bill is $500, it's just you there, you got a leak somewhere. Or if you got high usage, there's something going on. Ain't nobody trying. I mean, we need to understand this. We had a critical time in Helena-West for years. We've not maintained our water system, and now at the time, the people around this table had to make a tough decision to figure out how to save our water department. Everybody said they're ready to leave, but I want to know what you would do if you were faced with some of these issues that these people around the table are faced with to try to make sure you can save your water. It ain't favorable, but it's something we got to do. Years ago, we should have fixed this issue, but we're here now. Everybody want a ball in their mouth. Well, it's time now. Hey, we got to get up and do what we got to do. If you got a leak, let's stand there. Hey, call the water department, Mr. Rose, Mr. Valley. We'll be happy to go. I'll be happy to come out and help you and see what we can find out. Stop playing the blame game like you didn't know that your water system failed before. It's going to fail again until we decide that we want a safer Helena. Everybody talking on the fixed income. We all got fixed incomes at some point. So at some point, we got to stop saying, oh, I can't, because the city been carrying the load for the longest. The water department every year, $1.2 million in the red. We all know that. But I think people don't care about the city. They think the city just got this big pocketbook that they can just, we don't care. We do care. I mean, ma'am, I'm going to say it again. I ain't gonna keep having nobody outbursts while I'm trying to talk. If you want to talk, stand up and say what you got to say. But right now I'm talking. Be respectful. These are the issues that we got in this community. Our community, this water department on the last leg, you saw we were without water for 3 weeks or better. Mr. Rose is working hard trying to obtain the license to make sure we can keep our water department open. I see people saying at the end of the bill about a licensed operator. We have an operator. But guess what? We need one of our own. We're not trying to gouge to do something different. We're trying to save our water department. And that's where we are. The people around this table made a decision to raise rates to save your failing water infrastructure. And that's where we are. If we had 20 years ago, if we had been maintaining the system, we wouldn't be here. We have not been maintaining it, and that's why we're here. Mr. Valley, what you got for me?
Mr. St. Columbia was addressing the ordinance. I don't know if he was going to put in the form of a
through?
motion. Or what.
I objected to paragraph E, the wording of it, and if that is corrected, then we can proceed as far as I'm concerned. You know, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing this thing, and the right way is to take a study. Sure, we're pressured to get it done and get it done yesterday, but let's don't do it at the backs of the citizens of this community. They can't afford this high price water.
Thank you.
And some of them have been abused out of it. So let's do it and do it the right way. Let's look into it. Let's take our time and get it corrected, and let's stop what's going on right now.
So
Go back to the old rates immediately,
So what is it? So that's your
and
rate.
then we look at the situation and come up with the correct rates that we should have.
So
But not do it all at one time. We can't
so let
have
me see.
such high increases.
So these recommendations came from Rural Water.
Sir?
These are the recommendations we got from Rural Water.
Yeah, I got a copy of that
Okay.
a little while ago.
So what are you, how you're proposing to go back to the old rate, right?
Right now,
Okay.
immediately.
So when your water system failed, what we gonna do then at the old rate?
Well,
If you sit here, and one thing about this administration, we're giving you all the information that you need. You see the water department is 1 point,
Mr. Mayor, you sat right here in this chair.
and when I sat there,
Yeah, I'm speaking.
did I get the information?
Show me some respect, will you?
Did I get the information you
I'm
got?
speaking, I have the floor. Let me talk. You had the floor a moment ago and you rattled a while. I listened to you. Now you listen to me. You sat here for years on this council and did nothing about the water company. Now all of a sudden, you're getting all excited about it.
You done?
No, I'm not through yet. I objected to paragraph E, and we need to correct that, and we can move forward on this ordinance that you're speaking of.
Mr. Mayor, may I want to address Mr.
Now, you're an
Miller's.
attorney, correct it.
I want to address Mr. Miller's concern.
Before you do that, Mr. Anthony, I was on this council for 12 years, and I told you about the guy that was at the fish lake fishing. I had a podcast about showing Water Leak Tuesday when I told y'all all this was happening, and y'all sit there and smile like nothing was going on. We had a guy that didn't have any license out there on the fish bank fishing. I wouldn't sleep. I've been up. I've been telling y'all we got these issues. We had all kinds of leaks, but we did nothing to fix them. And every time you mention it, Mr. Franklin, you don't have the floor to speak. So yes, I did. I want to refresh your memory. Mr. Anthony, you can go ahead.
I asked the city attorney to draft these two ordinances.
Thank you.
And I asked him to draft one with an October 1st deadline in it. I asked him to draft the second one with a blank because I didn't know what the body would want to do. It's certain that we have perhaps some issues with computer software or maybe with meters or something is wrong. We replaced all the meters in town back during Jay Hollowell's administration. We moved from the old meters to the digital meters. I spoke to the water superintendent who arrived here shortly after that. He does not remember those meters ever being tested and calibrated since he's been here. That could explain why people have 30,000 gallon usage. It could be a software issue, but clearly when people don't see a pool of water and they got 30,000 gallons and use, something is wrong. And so I suggested that we pause where we are. We can make adjustments to the old to the ordinance that we just adopted. But at the same time, Mr. St. Columbia, you've been on the council just as long as I have since consolidation.
I've been on
And-
for 30 years.
I'm saying the consolidated city, as long as I have. And we have done everything that every water director and mayor has asked us to do. We have. We have not told a single mayor or water director no. And the fact is that they've been losing money since 2018, and they didn't recognize it in the water department. They told us a different story. And when the crisis hit last summer, we learned that they had been losing money since 2018. And the city, the west side of town, is hanging by a thread right now. It's what nobody's saying. They could be without water any day. The same people who don't want to pay more money will be throwing rocks at us if the water doesn't come on next week. The well is under construction. It could be finished, they say, in a couple of weeks now. We have to pay for it. We got $100,000 last year to fix leaks. We went through it in 30 days fixing leaks because we got these old lines. We got $100,000 this year to fix leaks. We went through it in 30 days because we have these old galvanized lines. They fix them and they leak again. They fix them and they leak again. The $11 million, we've not received one dime. So we can't fix the lines. We can't use it on the well. The hospital $1 million that we were going to use out of that deal, it doesn't look like the hospital's going to ever have any money. To be honest, from what I hear on the street, they may never pay. The question is, what steps are we going to take? And you know, the water is not turning over all the sanitation fees. So when the garbage trucks don't run, and people wonder why the garbage didn't get picked up, what they don't realize is that water is operating at a deficit, so sanitation doesn't get us money. So it's just a domino effect. So I know what you're about to say. I know what everybody said. Every time somebody calls me, I said, I understand. People say it's too much. It's too much. I hear you. I hear everybody's pleas. It's too much. We can adjust it. We can adjust it down. But we have to provide some more revenue for the water department.
I'm not opposed to raising the rates
I understand.
reasonably, and I think the people understand, but not excessively. And I think
That's
we
part-
need to look
Mr.
at this
Mr.
a
St.
lot
Columbia.
closer.
This is St. Columbia. That part is to be discussed from here. The problem is, and to address Mr. Miller's point, I'm not in favor of an open-ended pause because the water department is losing over $100,000 a month. We know that already. And we have to step in at some point and change the direction, the trajectory of the department.
Okay, so
We have a consent order that we have to comply with, and we only have how many days left where we have to hire a licensed director. If that licensed director costs us 6 figures, we're already losing money. We have to have 2 operators at $50,000 each.
okay, so
If this stuff doesn't happen, then the department doesn't operate.
Okay.
And so,
I hear you. And let me first say thank you for submitting the ordinance. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you for that. You should be commended for that. Secondly, so how about this? October 1 or until the issue is resolved. And the only reason why I'm wanting to put that caveat in there is I don't want us to get to October 1, the issue is not resolved, but we feel like we had to pass something or our backs are up against the wall to approve something that's still not right.
Mr. Miller,
So-
Mr. Miller,
Yes, sir.
to your point,
Yes, sir?
we can set a date in this ordinance. And if that date arrives, we can extend it. The same way we're addressing this, and everybody at this table, everybody in this community has my pledge that I will continue to advocate that it stay at the regular rate until we find a suitable rate that allows the department to work, that allows us to keep the water on in West Helena. We can extend it. I'm just saying today, I don't want to do it open-ended because we need to address it. While this time is passing, we need to address it. And let us not forget, last summer, here's the other thing. Last summer, when we had the issue at the treatment plant on the west side of town and water was out for citizens, the governor's office asked us for a rate study. The governor's office said, you need to do a rate study. In January, Senator Murdoch came here and he stood right there and he asked rhetorically several times, of this administration. The governor's office has been waiting on a rate study since August. Where is the rate study? Where is the rate study? The rate study should have been done long before now. We should have taken on all these issues long before now. But we're up against the wall right now. And we know the water is hanging by a thread. We need to get the new well open. Winter is coming. The lines are not going to replace themselves. If we don't replace those lines, we're going to have days this winter where we don't have water. And to get that, we need that $11 million loan, because the line replacement is multi-million-dollar project that we don't have. So all I'm saying is, let's move forward. Let's set deadlines to accomplish tasks, and let's be about accomplishing those tasks. If we don't agree on a suitable rate, we can extend it, but let's get about the business of doing it.
I just don't see.
Let's not leave it open-ended. And that's my only request.
Yeah, I just don't see, I mean, I tend to lean towards being the most optimistic person there is, but I just don't see this issue with the numbers and stuff being ready by October 1. That's what.
Well, the numbers
Less
are
than
based
four-
on
less
the
than
numbers
four.
are based on the rate study.
I
We
understand
can
that,
just
but
assume-
obviously there's issues, because if people's bills are tripling and quadrupling,
but that's for the water department.
I
Talk to the
understand.
superintendent.
I understand.
They will they can start assessing these meters for people who have excessive usage.
And they can do that within a
And-
month's time. To determine
Well, if we
a
give
large
them-
enough sample, I get, not
That-
everybody, but
And that's
a large enough sample. to
that's what I'm
determine
getting at. If we go 60 days, if we go November 1st, at least by November, he can sample enough to come back and tell us,
Okay.
these people had leaks that were undetected. These people had meters that were malfunctioning. We had a
Mhm.
software problem. At least we'll have a status, and then we can respond to whatever status we get.
And we'll have a new well in operation by November, won't we?
that. Is that right, Mr. Rose? You can do that.
We
You
hope
can do
to
that
have a
today?
new well in operation, but do
Well, I
we
hope
have,
so.
do we have the money to pay for the well, to open it?
No, sir.
That's the issue. That's one of the issues, Mr. St. Columbia. We don't have, if they finish that well, we don't have the money to pay them to turn it on. And the people need to understand that.
Explain it to them.
I'm telling them.
That's what we've been doing.
Because the same people, I understand people don't want to pay their rate. We can reduce the rate, but the department has to have the finances and the resources to operate. And if they don't, there's not going to be water on the west side. So let me ask, is November 1st acceptable to allow the water department to assess the software, to assess the meters? And we can simultaneously examine the rates. I think the real issue is going to be the sewer rate, but we can simultaneously address those issues. We can consider whether we want to have a structured rollout of the rate increase. We can talk about all those things in a 60-day period of time. And if we don't agree, we can extend it some more. I mean, we can extend it however long we want to extend it.
So what you're proposing that we immediately go back to the old rates until November.
Until
In
November.
the meantime, we assess all the problems that we're having.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, we will create an ordinance for a new rate that we need to do.
We
Is that
can,
what you're saying?
yes, sir.
And I agree with that.
Okay.
Joe, actually, that's what E says. It says either we could keep the one we have, or we can change it, or we can do something different. That's really what it's saying. Yeah, so it's all good.
You understand that?
So my question was, what happens to the revenue? Because as you all just heard, that we got to get this well up and operating. So what happens to the revenue? So when you do this, and it's time to get the well online, and we already don't have the money. We didn't cash in all the CDs that we can cash in. So what happens from here? I mean, I'm in favor of the people who have the issues. Let's check their issues out. If they need to be calibrated or whatever, but I'm in favor of taking care of the customer, seeing where these issues are, fix those issues, but we need to keep rolling forward. If you got an issue, Mr. Rose and the water department will get out there and handle those issues. If your water been excessive, hey, making a date, we get out there and we assess it, but right now we just can't go back, because if we do, if your water system fails, you're gonna blame me. You blame me for everything else. But wait a minute. It's time now to say, what can we do different? If you pause or stop this and the water stop working tomorrow, what do we do? We're at a critical time that we got to do something. I understand if you know you ain't use 30,000 gallons of water, then you need to see somebody. If you know that you in the house using 10,000 gallons of water, you need to see somebody. The people who have the excessive amount of bills should see us so we can take care of that. But if we stop this and we have a crisis, what happens?
I think it works the same way. We don't have to wait until November 1st to address it.
We don't have to.
Yeah, November 1st is the deadline, but we don't have to wait until November 1st to address it. If we get the answers to our questions before November 1st, but to answer your question, if we don't have the additional revenue, the water department will continue to take sanitation funds. We will continue to be underfunded in the rest of the departments for the city. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be consequences either way. All right, but we don't have to wait until November 1st to address this. We can do it beforehand. We can have special meetings. I'll make myself available. We can talk about this. We can come up with something that's acceptable and move forward whenever.
That was just one of my concerns. Whatever the will of the body is, I just want y'all to realize this. We at a critical time.
I just got one question for clarity. During this intervening time, what is the body expecting the water company to do in terms of complying with this moratorium? What reports are you looking for? What is it that they need to do? How do they hit the marks?
Okay. Well, first determine, do we have serious water leaks? So I'm sure there's several people here, maybe they can be used as part of the sample who have complained about rates. We can look at them and maybe use them as part of a sample pool to check to see if it's a leakage thing. Secondly, as Mr. Esley has discussed, let's check the computer system. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means we bring in an IT person. I don't know what that consists of. But look at it from a technological standpoint. Is it technically sound? And I think those would probably be
the calibration of the meters.
Calibration of meters, and also the leakage issues.
I'd also like to hear from the actual water manager. If you have any suggestions or ideas that you would like to share.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm fully understanding that everyone concerns with this, and thank you, Mayor and the council, for really sharing the importance of this rate increase and why it's needed. But now I just want to share the reality of when it comes to these various high usage bills that I know is frightening, and we do need to investigate. So when it comes to calibration of meters, this has to happen over at least a 5-6 year period. The meters that we have in the ground is for I think about 15-year lifespan before we want to actually look and replace that meter and have a new meter put in the ground. Okay, so when we're looking at a faulty meter that is possibly misreading, digital dial is not reading correctly, maybe information was input to the system manually wrong, maybe there was a leak on the customer side, but it was running through the meter and it was actually still on the copper setter. That could cause high usage and actually be our fault. If we take this meter out, we have to send it off for it to get properly, actually checked out properly. So for it to get recalibrated, we do not do that ourselves. We send that to Badger Meter for them to do it. And actually, they have a service that's going to send out IT specialists to help us check these meters out. Okay, and so this.
Rose,
go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's no on the ground people. I mean, because usually even with computer stuff now, they can hook up a USB or a Wi-Fi thing and do it electronically on.
And so that's what I was mentioning. When it comes to a meter that is not reading right, we'll want to. There's two options we have. We can send them off, or we can actually have an IT specialist come in and actually look at that meter and see what's going on the ground. And so that's a little faster. That is a cost, that I feel is worthy to pay, because it happens faster than me sending off maybe 100 meters or 200 meters. Hopefully it's not that many meters that we have to get recalibrated, but it's a faster turnaround on getting these meters. And now another thing, when we're actually looking at a faulty meter that's misreading, we will put in a temporary meter that we know is calibrated right to get a better reading. Okay, and so these are things that has to happen, and we do have. This is case by case. There's a lot of variables that come into play with high usage or usage that's incorrect.
Now what about the software update?
Now the software, now to be honest, the software is, from my understanding, is pretty accurate, because we have manual reads. It goes into a system. We literally import the information into the system, and that's how it works, and that's how the rates come out on your bill. Okay, and so yes, we do need to have that checked too, and we'll also have the specialists come in and look at that as well, and they can do that on site. Okay, so that was my biggest point I wanted to make. This is something that's already been in play. My service techs have been on the ground making lists and getting every meter that they see are misreading through work orders. We have all this verified, and we're getting this information together, but it is time consuming. This process has been happening for months now, because we have to. When customers are coming in and letting us know, hey, this don't look right, we get on it right away. And so it's really case by case, but it's going to take time to make sure that we go through all of the meters in Helena and West Helena to make sure they're working properly. Okay. Any questions while I'm here?
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Your West Helena tank,
Yes.
what is it holding at?
Okay. All right. Good question, Mayor. The West Helena tank right now is at 32 feet. Okay. And so, yes, we are.
Can you explain that to them?
Yes.
What do you mean by 35 feet?
Well, it's ultimately low. We're at a low point. This is why West Helena customers are experiencing pressure issues. That's why we do have reverse flow on meters. These are all variables that affects usage at this point in time. And so what's happening is that we need this new well. Every point that was made today by the mayor and council is accurate. We have to get this well online, or we're going to be in bad shape. And I'm doing everything in my power. All of the staff, Arkansas Rural Water, everyone is pitching in to help to make sure that we do not experience what we experienced earlier this year. And so the main reason right now to this tank level is we're just not producing enough water. Our plant flow has dropped down tremendously, and it's continuing to drop down. And we're doing around the clock work on leak detection to stop water loss, which is maintaining the level that it's at right now. But this fight, we've been fighting for a long time, a long hot summer, and it ain't too much more fight we're going to have without water coming into the system from the new well. That's just the reality.
So if you're at 35 feet, what if you get below, what is a boil order?
30 feet would be boil order, precautionary boil order. And so we're fighting real hard to keep us from that. And we're going to continue to do that. And my goal, being optimistic as you are, Dr. Miller, is that we do not see a precautionary boil order. But that is not promised. That's just the reality we're at. And so we're working pretty hard to make sure that doesn't happen.
If what is happening is if we don't do something, West Helena is doomed to fail.
That's it. That's
So
it.
that's what we've been trying to warn you all of. When you all talking about the increases and people talking about tough decisions, the people who voted for this made a tough decision to make sure that we can save this community. This has been a long battle with decline in the infrastructure, no one maintaining the systems. When I campaigned for this job, I knew that there was an issue. That's why I kept saying we need to fix this, but we weren't provided with information. Every time somebody brought something to us, we voted on it, we passed it, tried to make sure. Now we're here, about to lose everything that we're trying to work for. If we lose this, the $11 million is gone. Who's going to help us? We first got to help ourselves. Yes, this pinch hurt. I'm saying ouch too. My mom, other older people in this community, I've gotten calls from. We're all on the same thing, but we got to do something, because when it fails, you're gonna keep on with the same up. So I just wanted Mr. Rose to let you all know that. So now so if you didn't know, now you know.
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I
You,
have
you,
one
you,
question.
you have to.
Go ahead.
Mr. Rose, I try to say these things as clearly and as best I can, and I try to not misspeak. So I thank you for saying that this is all accurate. I don't want to say anything that's inaccurate. My other understanding is that if we lose this tank, this time, nobody can come in and patchwork save us. We'll be down until the new well comes on.
Yeah, and that's just the again, I say the reality of it. Every time we lose the tank or it drops below a significant level where we're going in the boil order, it's going to take longer and longer for it to build back. And so that's my whole goal, especially since I've been appointed superintendent, is to be proactive versus reactive. And we've been proactive this whole entire year since our last crisis in January. And so the ideal is this: we're out of time. We're out of time. We've really been out of time, and we bought time by working very hard around the clock and trying every strategy that we possibly can to maintain a system that is old and decrepit, and we have to have the funding to fix this stuff completely. I mean, there's no way around it. But right now, I think it's also an opportunity for us all to show what the mayor just did. We got to help ourselves, and this is what it looks like: a rate increase, folks paying their bill, us coming to solutions for it to happen, and this all helping each other. That's the only way we can do it right now, because as we help ourselves, we will be able to get this funding to get this fixed. So this is not the end. I know it's not something we want to hear. It's scary, but it's not the end of the road. We just got to push through, and I really think we can.
Last one for you.
Yes,
How long do you think this will last? This water.
Right now?
Right. How long do you think? Can we go a day?
I'm pushing for it to last as long as possible. There's no other option. Folks deserve water. I do not want to see what happened earlier this year happen again. And so that's my take on that. But we need this well as soon as possible. If I could pull water from the ground myself, I would right now to get us out of this situation.
So when rural water came in, they actually told you it's all this is due to lack of maintenance on the system.
Well, it's
over time, over years.
Yeah, and I know they shared it, and I shared it a bit as well. But this is a time issue. These wells that we've had in West Helena have been outlived their life 20, 30 years ago. A well is supposed to last 40 years, and we've been using these wells for 60 to almost 70 years. And so this is just something that needed to be done some time ago. But we're here now. This is where we're at. And we're still a long road ahead of getting really to where we need to be. We need multiple wells, not just one well. And so this is a uphill fight. But the reality is just we have a lot that wasn't done on the distribution system. We're not the only city dealing with this in the state, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we're taking the right steps to get these lines replaced, to get what the treatment plant needs, to get new wells online, and to have all of the things that we need to do to get this job done. I'm not going to go into detail because I'll be up here the whole night, but there's a lot of factors, and the fact is this: things should have been done a long time ago. That right now, with the infrastructure that we have, if we don't make the right moves right now, this system will fall. Okay.
Any more questions for Mr. Rose? Thank
Yes, yes. Okay, you made a statement, Mayor, that if a person have a water leak, and that's what I had, I'm using like 17,000.
Okay.
And I'm a senior citizen on the fixed income,
Yes, ma'am.
not like everybody else. And I know I'm not using that much water. So I checked my meter, and the meter is so old that I literally had to dig the dirt from around it. But my point is, I called the water company can they send someone out to check my meter? And right this moment, no one haven't returned my call. No one has came out to check out my problem. So if you think there's a leak with the meters, why don't we just, go from house to house? For the person or persons that might have a high leak, go around and check. And another thing, I understand that we are in a situation right now but there's no money really. If my water bill is $500 and my mortgage is $500, what about my medical? My light bill, what about that? See, I know that you can't rob Peter to pay Paul, because Paul is not going to get paid. See, it must be another way that we can go around this.
Well, I'm gonna say this, Mr. Rose, their staff at the water department, we all know, is short. But I guarantee you, since you just addressed that to us, Mr. Rose, we'll get somebody out to check your meter to make sure. Now, as you heard, we just put those digital meters down in the Hollowell administration, so they can just ride around and get your number. They don't have to dig your meter out. So what we will do, Mr. Rose, get her information. We will get somebody to check it for you, and that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. If you got this high usage, call the water department. We are short-staffed, but we're going to get to you and address your needs. We're not trying to say, "Oh, you're a single person," but if it's coming through the meter and it's a leak somewhere, let them handle that. And if it is true, we'll adjust you. And we don't, Mr. Rose, am I correct?
Yeah, and, real quick. So, Mayor, you are accurate with that, because what we have to do is, right now, it's been case by case, and it's been an influx.
I
And
understand.
so my service techs are short, and I've been pulling everybody else to fix leaks and leak detection and other things. But what we have to do with this rate increase is check every meter. Yes, they are electronic, but we still have manual readers and we have issues. And so truly, that's got to be the approach moving forward, is to make sure every meter is working right. So we will be doing that. We'll take care of it.
Thank you for the info.
So can you make sure you give him your address so we can, Mr. Rose, we get our address so we can get it checked out?
My concerns have been addressed by all of you, including Pearl, and I know something will be done. But I disagree with the mayor tonight, Councilman Dunn tonight. I agree with Joe St. Columbia and Kyle Miller. And what you're saying is that we do need money to move forward, which is true. We need money to correct the water problem. But what I got on my brother's bill, what Pearl has and what so many has, you're still going about it the wrong way. Let's do what Columbia just said, because otherwise people like me will move out of the city and you will lose even more tax revenue. Haven't thought about that. You're just thinking about increasing to pay the water bill, but you will lose tax revenue because some of my friends here will move outside the city.
Okay, so I say this. You say that people will move away. Well, we got businesses that will move, that are about to leave if their garbage is not being picked up. So wait, because it's a twofold. Now, you just heard us say that the businesses are not getting their garbage picked up. Okay, so tell me, it's okay. It's okay for us to say, well, if your bill is high, we just told you what we could do. Everybody in this room has a high bill. Mr. Rose is limited on workers. We'll get folks out there to read your meter to make sure if you got a leak, we'll adjust it. But going backwards does nothing to help us. Going back will do nothing. Guess what? People are leaving because they're scared that your water system gonna collapse. It did before. So when it collapsed the first time, folks start getting their stuff, getting out of hell. Because you know what? Your hospital won't run. The business, the chemical plants. So when you singing all of this,
okay, I agree with what you're saying. That's what I said first. But I'm saying his way is better. Do not do it today. And it's unfair.
Okay.
I mean, it's just my brother, and he's disabled. Okay? The bill is 800% higher. Went from 100 to 800, and that includes sanitation, the whole bill.
But clearly, there's a leak
So
somewhere.
just give him time to do it, then you can make the increase.
clearly there's a leak somewhere.
That's what you're saying. I agree.
So I'm constantly
Well, I
telling you.
mean, a leak would not do this.
Yeah,
You know where I live? It's
I'm saying-
25 by 25 by
I'm
55.
the same thing I'm telling
It'll
you.
be flooded out.
Well, okay, the same thing I'm telling you, it went through the meter. So let me tell you, same thing I'm trying to tell you is my mama has a high water bill. Nobody's there but her. She's getting disability. So her water bill is $285.
Who else get an $800 bill?
Because you. Wait. So we're done with questions. Come on, Ms. Valley. We're done with questions. No.
The mayor's doing the recognition. Well, the mayor said he's done.
So if there is if there is somebody would like to speak, we need to do some order. So I think Renee was in line.
Kept your eyes on me. I was just keeping my peace because I know somebody's gonna bring it out that I was next.
So we're gonna let people speak, but you know.
Oh, okay, it's me. I'm a little nervous, but I just felt like I had to say something. Because I see what you're saying. Oh, you can't hear me? I can talk louder. I don't want. Okay, Mr. St. Columbia saying, and I can hear what Don Etherly was saying. And mostly everybody probably in the city of Helena-West Helena. And when you told me when I came by your house, you said we in of the tank. And I looked at the bill and I'm like, And I'm going what you saying, like, ooh, the tank, no water. Don't nobody want to be putting no boards on their house saying they want, because I enjoy this little town, this little small town. I want to be here. So to put boards on your house and say, just, I feel like that's just the easy way out to do that. And you letting everybody down if you do it. You know what I'm saying? And the amount of money that y'all need, I'm just trying to figure out how that much money you're going to need and y'all going to go ahead and get the well then? Because y'all saying by November, what time frame y'all got to have all this money in that if we pay these bills and do like y'all tell us to do, the well would be here in a couple of weeks because we got to pay that bill by the 15th. So I hear what everybody's saying, like, yeah, we don't get this money up, y'all ain't going to have no water, and that's bad. They already be talking about us about the water anyway. But to have a $2,500 bill, $8,000, like you said, it may be a leak. But last year, we got our leak, the little drop that was coming in the tub, and we got that little drop fixed because it was irritating me to hear it instead of dripping. Got that fixed. Ain't nothing else. It's dry. I don't know. Get out. But my bill, when I look at my bill, I said, only $400. It only went up $200. But when I look at other people, and I'm like, it brought me in tears just because I'm like, wow, they really went up on you. Really. And some people got $6, $7. I don't understand why certain people got $90 bills. My neighbor, I ain't hating on nothing. And I share my bill with her, and mine is higher than hers. And we got 2 bathrooms. She got the exact same thing I got. And there's no leaks nowhere around my house. The meter, where I called him earlier, but they supposed to come out and check it out. But they put me a new meter down, and I still don't understand what happened. But how y'all gonna get all that money up like that fast? It look like it's gonna go down anyway, and that's gonna hurt us anyway. Even if y'all it's gonna hurt. I know you trying, but how you gonna get all that money up like that? How you gonna do that? It's still say, hey, we still short. We still short. They're supposed to all of us hit this little jackpot or something tonight. All of us come to pay our water bill tomorrow, the $1,525. Are y'all still gonna have enough money to get that tank? Or is it gonna be another excuse why we can't get the tank?
We have to raise rates and get it going back. We have not received out one dime of the $11 million.
Because they probably ain't gonna want to give it to y'all because y'all ain't paying what they want.
Nobody just said drop $11 million in your account. You have to get engineers to get out here and assess the.
But why do they feel that we don't need it? He said 30, you said 35? That thing gonna be dry by, what, this September, it gonna be dry before Thanksgiving get here. Ain't that water going out? That's why you don't want people washing cars, doing the garden, or anything.
When you apply for this money and you do what they ask you to do, you can draw money down and say, hey, I can pay this now. So I think what people are saying, we just can't say, give me a whole $11 million. There's steps, there's reports, there are things we have to do to show that, hey, we met this deadline. Okay, so natural resources was like, okay, y'all met this, we'll pay this.
But what's the deadline for us? Because by the 15th from the water ladies,
they
told me that we don't have it by the 20th. What's gonna be the outcome of that part? Do we really have to pay the bills? My time up?
Yes, ma'am. But the moratorium was stopped.
The who?
The
So
moratorium.
y'all done said it tonight. We
That's
do.
what they-
I can
Not
see.
yet.
They're trying to get there.
Mr.
They
Valley,
trying to get there, don't they get there? Oh, we talking
Mr.
now.
Valley,
Okay. Well,
Mr.
y'all
Valley,
get there. Y'all
Mr.
get
Valley,
there.
if I may, it doesn't really do any good for everybody to hold up their water bill and say mine is X amount of dollars. What we're trying to do is go back to the old rate right now, so that erases all of that. I mean, we can, and we need to vote on the ordinance to take it back to the old rate.
Okay, are you saying that we continue to pay our old bill like 134?
We have to vote on it right now, and
Okay,
while everybody's saying mine went to 700, mine went to 800, we know people's bills went up. We're trying to take it back to the old rate right now.
Okay.
So if what number would this be, Ms. Rand?
25.
And what date do we want to set for review?
I'll go with
November 1st? November? Okay.
This is the ordinance number 14.
And for the purposes of our listeners, we're going to place November 1st, 2024, November 1st, 2024 as our deadline to resolve the rate issue.
By then, we have to,
We either have,
ordinance.
we extend it, we do a new ordinance, whatever, we do something by November 1st.
We have to pass another ordinance by then.
Hold on a second.
It's too much, Ms. Miller.
Yeah, can we have order, please?
Mr. Anthony, can you restate that Ms. Miller was trying to hear?
Because I can't, it's too much going on.
Well, I was trying to see if we can have an agreement as November the 1st for the date that we do something as it relates to rates. We'll meet again, and I think we need to do it before November 1st, but we can meet again, we can talk about it, we can change what we've done, we can do all that stuff, but we said November 1st is a deadline to take some kind of action as it relates to rates.
What about the sewer and sanitation rates?
That's all included, that's all included.
All-
Well, not sanitation, sewer, water and
Sewer,
sewers.
yeah.
Sanitation didn't change, water and sewer. It's all in the same thing. So, is that acceptable?
Yes.
If that is acceptable, then with the blank insert, I inserted November 1st in the blank.
What will that ordinance number be?
14.
14?
Yes, I move to adopt ordinance number 14 by placing it on its third and final reading, reading the title only.
Mr. Anthony, place ordinance number 14 on third and final reading. Is there a second? Ms. Harris, Mrs. Davis, second the motion. Madam Clerk, any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Ms. Davis, 6 yes.
So,
Move to adopt.
Mr. Anthony moves to adopt. Is there a second? Mr. St. Columbia, second the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Davis, Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
6 yes.
I'll go to the emergency clause.
Mr. St. Columbia moved to adopt the emergency clause. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis and Mrs. Harris, second the motion. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Ms. Davis, Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Dr. Miller,
Yes, please.
6 yes.
So my question is,
They're gonna get a credit.
so the people that already paid the water bill will receive a credit?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So we just want to make sure they understand that.
So the rates are at the previous rate.
the people who have already paid their bill will receive a credit next month on their bill for if that's, since we're going back to the old rate, they'll receive a credit on the next month bill.
What about these people that have,
Everything goes back to the old rate.
okay, but what about these meters that need rechecked? We got to get on to them.
That's-
It's a lot of
he's-
money.
he's on the
That's what they were in the process of doing.
He's on the.
So, Mr. Valley,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there was one other item, and that's a resolution that's been laid on your desk. Basically asking for authority to continue with this $11 million application process. We got a deadline of Friday, September the 6th, to apply for loan forgiveness, which turns it into a grant. And there's going to be a year or two process, but this is the beginning. But we need the council authority to continue with this process. If you need me to read it aloud, I will, but that's basically what the resolution is for.
Read that loud.
Read it aloud. A resolution designating and authorizing the mayor, water project designee of the Helena-West Public Water System to execute certain documents in connection with the funding administered by the Arkansas Natural Resources Commission, whereas the city of Helena-West Arkansas owns and operates a system, hereinafter the system, in order to provide public water service to meet the needs of the city and its inhabitants, and whereas the city council has determined that it's in the best interest of the city and its inhabitants to apply for assistance from the Arkansas Natural Resources Commission, the ANRC, in order to make certain improvements to the system. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Helena-West Arkansas, Section 1, that the mayor of the city, as signatory agent or successor of said agent, is hereby authorized and directed to make application for assistance administered by ANRC and to execute, when approved by the City Council, a bond purchase agreement and instruments issued and made pursuant thereto on behalf of the city from time to time. Section 2, that the water project designee of the system as signatory agent or successor of said agent is hereby authorized to execute for and on behalf of the mayor and the city all other documents and certificates required to move the application for funding forward. And Section 3, that the mayor and the water project designee of the system as signatory agents or successors of said agents is hereby authorized and directed to make application for any available assistance, both current and future, administered by ANRC, and to execute when approved by the City Council to submit all documents and certifications as required, passed on blank date, signed by the mayor, attested by the clerk.
is there a motion?
This is a resolution to purchase a bond agreement.
Now, to allow you to
Move
make
forward.
application to ANRC, and then if they approve those applications and provide funding, and you approve going forward, then you do a bond agreement with ANRC.
That's resolution number what?
13. Is there a motion and a second?
So moved.
Mr. Ether moves to adopt resolution number 13. Is there a second? Mr. Davis seconds the motion. Any
I got
discussion?
one that's not on letter.
Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Etherly,
Yes.
Ms. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Miller, Mr. St. Columbia,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Dr. Miller. 6 yes.
That's everything?
Our next meeting is next Tuesday, the 10th.
I move we adjourn.
Mr. St. Columbia, move adjourned. Mr. Ether seconds. Adjourned. You have a good night.